All right, we're ready to rock and roll, guys. We are up and running now, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. My name is Brandon Cunningham, and you guys are here, and I'm excited that you're here because the information you're going to get tonight, I find to be last week, I think we put out kind of a challenge to the team last week because of something that was going on with the LifeVantage app, a new update to the app. And it was basically based on an alert, a red or green alert that you were getting inside of your app. So if you haven't got the latest version of the LifeVantage app, I would suggest you do that now because we're going to be referring to that a little bit. And some of the teams are calling this the green light incentive. Some people are saying, give me the green, talking about the money, going green. And basically what that is in the app, it shows you two different amounts or numbers. One is your personal volume and one is your organizational volume, PV and OV. And tonight's going to be about interviewing some of our PV rock stars, people that have a lot of customers and are doing amazing with getting people on the product, getting in front of them, and keeping them on the product. And I thought, what better way than just get them some of the better performing distributors, and let's talk to them tonight a little bit about what they're doing and what's working for them so that we can implement it in our own efforts and then teach that into our organization. So let me just go a little bit deeper into the app before we start talking to some of these ladies. And remember, just as a way to kind of remind you, this is just some of the higher distributors, the higher PV. It's not the highest. There was not I went and pulled some numbers from corporate, but we have a couple dozen distributors with in excess of 2,000 PV, which is fantastic. And everybody here does have that. Everybody you're going to hear from tonight has in excess of $2,000 personally enrolled as customers. Some have over $3,000. Some have over $6,000 in personal customers. And so that's why I wanted you to hear from them tonight. But if you'll go to your app and open your LifeVantage app, and you're going to either get a blue screen or maybe you're going to get an update. But on the right side at the bottom, you'll see a category called People. So if you click on People, you're going to get three screens, right? Or three blue labels. You got your network, meetings, and me. If you hit the third one, me, it's going to open up your information, your numbers, right? And the first one you're going to see is personal volume. And you'll see this month, today, and then you'll scroll down a little bit and you'll see last month. And you'll have either a green square or a red square there. And so that's what that green is all about. Show me the green, right? Show me the money, or let's go green, or go green team. If you hit the green button, it'll show you the percentage that you're up, or it will show you the exact dollar amount that you're up. If you scroll down a little bit more, it will show you your organization. It'll show you the percentages of volume in your organization. And if you swipe left, you now are going to see your organizational volume. Again, red or green. So tonight, though, is about personal volume. Tonight is not about organizational volume. Tonight is about personal volume. And I want to jump right into this because I know a lot of you guys have moved team Zooms around and team trainings around to be a part of this. So I wanted to jump in, and DJ and Jill and Becky, I know you guys are here and you're on. So I want to kind of introduce you guys.
Lo único que veo aquí es esto, no veo más nada.
See, we got someone here that's chatting. Hang on a second, guys.
Mr. AC.
Yo te estoy preguntando. Ah, mira, del otro lado sí hay.
Okay. Mute that line. Hopefully I got it.
Yeah.
Mute that line. All right. And I'm looking around a bright light. So anyway, sorry about that, guys. Let's start with Jill. Jill, if you don't mind, Jersey girl Jill. I like picking on Jill because Jill's got she's got skin like a rhinoceros. She's got thick skin. You can tell Jill will tell you what she's thinking, and you can tell Jill what you're thinking, and she loves you and you love her. And Jill, listen, Jill, we had a little setup call at 6 p.m. to kind of go over some things, guys. And Jill was a little late to the call, but for a good reason. She was prospecting someone in line at Whole Foods. So I'm like, I can't let that go, Jill. Like, that's golden. That's perfect. So I'm basically going to be asking the same thing to the three ladies here. You know, how are you finding people? So I already kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. You know, secondly, what are you saying to them? And third, how are you keeping them? And so, Jill, I know your PV, I don't know the exact amount, I don't have it in front of me, but it's over $3,000, maybe $4,000 that you have in PV, which is just phenomenal. And so there you go. There's the green light. I love it.
It says 5825 right now.
5825, guys. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Jill's not a doctor. She's a hustler. And so, Jill, give them a little bit of, you know, let me ask you this question. How much of your customers is coming from social media, and how much is coming from what you did in the whole food line?
Well, actually, I just did the analysis when we got on this call because I had no idea. I have 204 personally enrolled customers. 12% of them are non-Facebook. Okay. The 12% are friends, family, neighbors, or wherever. Some of the people I may have known from high school, but I honestly did not get on the phone. I connected through social media, so I count them as social media. In all fairness, I maybe picked up the phone 3 times because as thick-skinned as I am, I can't pick up the phone. That's my phobia, okay? So I can talk someone.
Well, you're here on a Zoom. Maybe you should Zoom. Maybe you should.
That's okay. Listen, before I started with this company, I couldn't even listen to the sound of my voice. I couldn't even do a live video. I would just throw up. So, and now I can do it. So it's all personal growth. And my team knows that. I could never listen to my voice. I could never take a picture. So it's all personal growth of getting over yourself. Okay.
Well, I've been stalking you ladies. I stalked your Facebook profile tonight and yesterday. So your Facebook profile looks great. And your post, let's see. It was a couple of days. Oh, Saturday. Your post on Saturday about 10 doctors. That was epic.
Yeah.
I love that post.
And my team is duplicating me. So I see who's duplicating me. And, you know, some of my posts that I think are great, nobody comments. I'm like, really? And they're like, the stupidest ones. Just blow up.
Okay, so you're finding people on social media. Are you finding them or are they finding you? In other words, is it clever, witty post and that's how it starts? Or are you go and find people in social media and groups?
Honestly, it's not about the post. You can't post and pray. Okay. If you're going to post and think business is coming to you, get over yourself. It's not happening. You're posting to educate people. You're posting to brand yourself. PJ does a great job of that herself. You're posting so that people understand who you are. Are you walking the walk or are you talking the talk? I am. People can look at my post and know what makes me nervous. They know what I'm about. Mm-hmm. I'm not, everybody knows you don't go on social media and complain. You know, no matter how sick I am, I'm not complaining about how I feel. Okay. You can't do that. I am finding my customers by talking to people. If someone says, oh my gosh, I have another sinus infection, you have to show empathy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Go on Messenger. Do you get sinus infections a lot? How long have you been sick? How many times have you been on antibiotics? They call me Mother Teresa. And Eileen cracks up. She goes, you trying to fix with her Italian. She says, you're trying to fix the world. And I am, because I was a sick person. Okay. Here's the thing. It's not always a good thing. I'm not leading with the business, and that's a problem. So you have to balance it. And I'm trying to balance it. Like tonight's call with Fred, I'm blowing that up, trying to get people in for the business. And if you don't do that, we just had the LV Academy this past weekend. And don't ask me who I listened to because I can't remember. But that was one of the things he said. You have to balance it. You have to make sure that you're leading with the business certain times. But this is not about that. This is about customers. So I'm
Let me
finding
ask you something real quick though. So this person that maybe had a sinus infection, was that on their feed, on their wall? So so you're on their wall. Or have you created any list so that you can see these people, or are you just scrolling through and finding these people in their comments?
Yeah, I'm at a boring job and I do this all day long while I'm working. And I run in the bathroom. As everyone knows, I do 90% of my work in the bathroom. I have created shortcuts, which I've taught my team how to do so that if somebody needs something, I can go bada bing. I can do BC. Brandon Cunningham is up on my screen. There's that. I can do FG, Fed Graves, they go. So the shortcuts have been really helpful because I don't have a lot of time. And people are like, well, I have no time for that. Well, you don't think you have time? I mean, listen, I know I have older children and some people have younger children. So I have that in my favor, but you can't use anything as an excuse and you just have to be intentional. So I'm sometimes not so intentional. Sometimes I do the waste book feed, you know, I'm scrolling too much, but most of the time when I'm seeing people complaining or, you know, and sometimes even when you go after the people in the groups, you get thrown out, okay? Because they're always saying, Jill, you're selling your product. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm sharing what worked for me. It may or may not be for you, but I'm telling you what for me. If you want to know more, message me. 1 out of every 20 will message me. But after a while, when you do it enough times, as I say, you throw that spaghetti at the wall, eventually something sticks, right?
Right.
And again, where am I getting the customers? Well, it's 1 out of every 10 that will talk to you. So if I'm getting 10 customers, it means I spoke to 100 people. And that's just it's numbers. Some people are starting to come to me because they're watching. They're like, okay, I've been watching you. And believe me, I have plenty of stalkers. I got a lot of stalkers on my team, and they'll admit it, that they watched me for 6 months. They watched me for a year. And you know, I'm 18 months in, and I still have people saying, okay, you're still doing this. I think I have to know more.
Yeah.
Happens. I mean, it just happens. But see, I have people in my neighborhood. I'm still haven't cracked it yet. I have this like friend group. I still haven't cracked it yet. And I keep dripping, and eventually it's going to crack. We're slowly but surely getting people to crack.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm going to come back to you on what you're doing to keep some customers. Let me go over to Becky for a little bit. Becky's up in Michigan, and I did the same thing. I was on Becky's Facebook feed, and obviously is big into the horse world and has a lot of people that are engaging with her. And I think one of the first things I saw there was a horse having a baby or something. So there was a baby horse coming, a little colt coming. So Becky, why don't you let everybody know a little bit. Let's see, there you go. You're unmuted. Let's see. Yeah, you're unmuted there.
Okay.
Let everybody know kind of where you're finding your people. Are they kind of in your network from the people you know in the horse world? How are you finding your people?
It started out first of all, I have a big following of a network and people with the horses. So that's where I got a lot of my customers right off the bat. And, you know, people started coming to me. I now kind of scroll through Facebook and find people that, you know, they've had the flu for days, they've been sick, or they have aches and pains, and just kind of give them a little bit of information on it. You know, because I've pretty much tapped into my network on Facebook, but I'm still getting people from December that I've talked to and are coming into me.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, your PV was over 6,000. Was that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So amazing. Amazing. So
a lot of my customers are horse people, and a lot of them are using it for the horse.
Story with the horse where, like, so obviously in my mind, you must have been part of something that happened in your health or an animal's health, that this story is really being unfolding in front of people's eyes. What's going on there?
So I watched the product for a whole year, and I finally, in the fall, I had 2 horses that the vet basically said, there's not much more we can do for them. I had students that wanted to ride, and so that was my last straw. Is I ordered some for both of the horses, and in 2-3 weeks, it made just a world of difference. So
and people saw that, right? People knew the horses.
Yep. And then I, put my father on it. He's got lots of issues. I put my husband on it. And now I've got 14 horses in my barn on it.
Wow. Wow. So what are you telling people? How are you leading out? Like if it's not people coming to you and you want people to know about this, what are you saying to people? What are you sharing with people?
Basically I'm sharing my stories, in which really draws people in, because we have a lot of them between the horses and my family. If I see I'm at a show somewhere and I see somebody having an issue, we'll get to talking, and I'll just give them some of the information.
Okay, very good. Let me go over to PJ. Becky, I'm going to come back to you so you can maybe add some more comments to the end of this and what you're doing to keep people on as customers. So let me go to PJ. PJ, I did the same thing. I stalked your Facebook. So I saw you guys. Y'all had a great weekend. So that looked fun for you guys. And PJ's done amazing, guys. She's a person that I got to meet. Where time goes by so fast. It's probably a couple years now, but has done amazing with customer acquisition. And she's in a market much like a lot of these ladies I say by themselves. But Michigan really is a newer market. PJ's over in West Virginia. Was a newer market for us. So PJ, how are you finding your people? Is it a mix of social media? Is it a mix of your network? How are you finding your people?
It's a mix. I use Facebook mainly to generate interest and to educate. And I've noticed that if I make sure that I come across as I am just trying to educate you on what I've learned or what I know, or I'm always just trying to educate, then people feel comfortable coming to me with questions, which turns into conversations, some of my conversations can last 6 months before anybody enrolls or becomes a customer, but we just keep the conversation going in Messenger. I'll check on them, and then they'll write me back, and then we could go for months before they actually buy. But you create interest, you make contact, and then you start developing a relationship. And some of these people I do actually run into face to face, and it's very exciting, and we end up becoming really good friends. And sometimes I never meet them face to face, but I'm always like, when people talk about how they don't have time, I have 3 kids, and we run 3 different sources of income out of our house. So I seriously don't have time, but everything I'm doing, I treat it as an open door. Like if my kids have basketball practice, then I'm getting that Axio out, and I'm mixing that Axio at basketball practice. And people are like, what is that? I'm mixing it for my kids, or my husband's got his. Or if if I have a doctor's appointment and I'm sitting in the waiting room, I get my stack out and I start taking my Nerve 2 there in front of people, and they're like, what is that? So I'm always trying to make sure that I'm a product of the product when I'm out. So I get a lot of customers that way, but then I ask them before I leave, do you have Facebook? And if they say yes, then I'll say, well, let me add you. And then when I get home, I follow up. So I use both. In the very beginning, though, when I first started, when I was a Pro 1, it was all Facebook, all YouTube, because that was before we had Life Biohacked. So I didn't really have a story of my own yet. So I used YouTube to share links in Messenger. And then when we launched Life Biohacked, I just went like crazy, just putting people in there and tagging them in things and sharing information. So if you don't have your own story, if you're in the beginning stages and you don't have your own story, use someone else's story until you have one of your own. Your own is always better because they want to hear how you feel about the product and what changes you're seeing. But if you don't have that yet, then just tap into the resources that we already have.
You said something that brought up a couple questions. Number one, you said some of these conversations go on for a couple months. Do you have a method of follow-up? Because that might be hard for some people, like keeping track of conversations for months. You have a method for that?
I keep them in my Messenger until I've been completely brushed off. So I probably have, and it takes up a lot of space on your phone, by the way. It's a pain. But I have a lot of conversations in Facebook Messenger, and every so often I'll just scroll down through there and I'll start opening those up and see what was the last thing we talked about. It might have been about their daughter or about their husband, or it might have been about an illness, but I'll just say, well, hey, I've been thinking about you. How's it going? Are you feeling better? Or have you heard from the doctor yet? What's, just reaching out and saying, I'm thinking about you. I don't ever reach out and say, so have you looked at my site yet? It's always, I want to show them that I care about them first, then I'm trying to grow my business.
That's awesome. That's so powerful what she just shared with you. So would you agree with Jill? Like, a lot of your customers are not from clever or smart or witty posts. It's from just working the conversations.
Just being yourself, showing them that you're not reaching out to them to make a profit. You're reaching out because you're really interested and you care. And you have a personal experience that they could learn from, or someone who has a personal experience. One of my favorite stories is we have a guy here locally that had gastric bypass, and he has had a lot of complications from the bypass. And my husband talked to him about the Vitality Stack, and I reached out to a lady that I had met at one of the events, and she had she either had gastric bypass or a lap band, and the Vitality Stack had really helped her. So I connected him with her, and they got to talk. Well, he ended up getting the Vitality Stack, and they're friends. So we connected him to someone else in Team True Blue, and he's made a connection. And then after a few months, he actually signed up as a distributor because he loved the network that we had and how we could utilize it.
Right. So something you just brought up that I wanted to ask, that I asked in prepping for this call. John King, can you mute your line? Let me see if I can find it. There it is.
I do it.
Got it. Okay. Can you, in prepping for this call, I asked you about Facebook groups. You brought up Life Biohacked, and you said that you did start your own Facebook group for products, and I wanted you to talk about that just for a little bit. And I'm not saying or condoning that all of you go out and do this, because it's work. So maybe you can talk about that, VJ. Maybe you can talk about what the work's involved in having your own Facebook group, but talk about the benefits you had from it also.
Okay, when I first started and I started generating all these customers, I thought, well, I wish I had a way to put all my customers in one spot so that I could talk to them directly. And when we first started out, we had with like 50 customers, and they were just Nerf 2, because that was really the only thing that I knew a lot about. So I stuck all my customers, once they enrolled and had purchased, I stuck them all in a group. And then I would go into that group and I would share information about product. I would take it directly from my store. I would just copy and paste things from my store. And I would go in there and I would go live, and I would say, hey, if you just started your Nerf 2 today, here's some things to look out for. And I would just share some experiences that I had when I started it. Well, then when we started promoting all the other products, then that opened a lot of doors for me to go in there and talk about all kinds of things, not just Nerf 2. So, and then some days I go in there and I don't talk about product at all. I just go live in my kitchen and I show them what I'm cooking for dinner. So it helps you make a connection with your customers. So I kind of have a process. When I first meet a person and they don't know anything about our company, I put them in Life Biohacked. But once they purchase, I put them in my personal group so that I can talk to them and deal with them directly.
I love that. I love that tip. I think that's a fantastic tip. Now, how much time you kind of had you definitely had Facebook skills coming into LifeVantage. So starting a group is not hard. That's a 5-minute process, but managing it, is that something you do daily? Do you check in on there daily?
In the beginning, I felt like I did put quite a bit of time into it, but now maybe once or twice a week. It just depends on what's going on. What's going on in my life, if it's a holiday or something, and I know a lot of people are off work and they're on Facebook, just like we went through the Easter weekend. I knew a lot of teachers were home, they weren't working. So I thought, well, this would be a good time to go in there because everybody's going to be on their phone. So not really. A lot of the stuff is just you're dumping in there from other people that you see on Facebook that you think your group. One thing that I put in there that I use a lot, and you guys just went over it on the Monday on the call, is that information sheet that tells you what to expect when you first start NERV 2. That was one of the first things I dumped in there. So as I was adding these NERV 2 customers into my group, I would tag them in that, and they would already know what to expect before their product arrived.
Awesome. Awesome. So Jill, let me come back to you. What are you doing to keep your customers? With all the customers that you have, what are you doing to keep your customers happy?
It's not easy. And I got to share that I do play secretary a lot. And Lynette hit on this on today's team call. You have to ask, how are you doing? So if I'm doing my Facebook scroll and I see one of my customers, I might say, oh, geez, I should check in on her because I'm always running around. If they're saying something negative, I'll go to Messenger and say, how you doing? And try to troubleshoot. If I watch my back office every month. I just did it with one of my teammates now. All the 0 OVs, you got to go back and you say, hey, what's going on? I saw that you didn't order. Did something happen? Why did you stop? Let's talk about it. How can I help you get an order in? I did that with 50 customers last night. I resurrected 3 orders today, and it happens. So one of the girls was so thankful. She's so tired. I said, let me send you an Axio sample. So that was my way of thanking her, you know, for ordering again. She hasn't ordered in 6 months, but you have to keep it real. You have to keep talking to them. Most of them say, well, I can't afford it. And then I say, you know what? Because I'm the Vitality Stack girl. I believe fully in Vitality Stack, as you know. And I say that if you can't afford Vitality Stack, then cut back to NRF2 and ProBio, because you know what? If you had to pick 2, those are the 2 most important. And then if they still can't do it, I go, then just take NRF2. You know, don't stop.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. Excellent. Becky, what are you doing for customer retention? Once you get your customers on, is there something that you're doing specifically to keep your customers happy, keeping them on product?
I keep in touch with them a lot. You know, same type of thing, always kind of touching base, seeing if they're having any issues. You know, I've had a lot of detox people. I just had a lady this last week that called, wanted her subscription canceled. You know, I went ahead and canceled it for her, but I sent her the information on this could be why you're having these issues. And she actually contacted me yesterday and said, okay, I need to give it another try. You know, I did the same thing actually today as I went through everybody that didn't have a subscription order and followed up with them. And, you know, it's all customer service. You have to stay in touch with them.
I agree.
If you don't, then, you know, you're going to lose them.
Yeah, I agree. We said that this morning. Giving your customers the VIP treatment is what will keep them. If they feel important, they'll stick around. Same thing. I had a guy that was on the Essentials. He didn't want the ProBio, so I told him we would straighten that out. You know, just kind of being, you know, removing your distributor hat for a second and being a customer, a manager of your customers, or customer service for your customers is really super important.
Yep, and that's pretty much 100% what it is.
Yeah. So any other things you think maybe would be a good tip? Are you using private Facebook groups, or are you using Life Biohacked? What are you using?
I'm using Life Activated, and that's what I, you know, add everybody into.
Okay, that's a private Facebook group that you guys have for your customers.
Yep. So I just add them all to there, and then I'll go through and, you know, tag them or explain how to do a search, and, you know, they kind of search what they're looking for. Love
that. Jill, you got something else you want to add?
Yeah, I actually have a private group, but I did the private group for my own research before I became a distributor, because I went, there is no way this is real. And I just kept finding things on the internet and put it in the group, you know, like YouTube's.
Yeah.
And then when I was all in, my group was set up. But I love what PJ does. That's
so do I.
That's really good, PJ.
I think she dropped $1 billion bomb on everybody, where you use Life Biohacked before they come in, and then once they come in and they're a customer, move them over into a private. PJ, that was gold. So,
but guys, it's work. It's a lot of work, and that's what it's not easy. It's maintenance, and that's what everyone has to realize. It depends on what you really want.
well, with that private group, though, it's a little less work because now you can touch all your customers at one time. I also think PJ's doing, and I'm not just trying to highlight PJ, but by her doing a live of what she's cooking, she's walking the walk, like Jill said, right? Like you can't just say you're in a health and wellness company and not actually be concerned with your health or your wellness, and being a part of that's important. So PJ, what are you doing to kind of keep customers engaged and ordering product?
Keeping them, the group is big. I try to pay it like, you start getting the same question from a lot of people. So then I'll go in my group and I'll address that question. Kind of like, I guess you guys do with True Blue, when you know that everybody's having some of the same issues. If I get a lot of people messaging me about, well, what does this do? And how do I take it? Or there's all these pills came in today and I don't know what to do. So I'll just go in there and I'll go live and I'll get my stack out and I'll say, here's how I do it, guys. But I also know this guy named Brandon and he takes Nerf 1 at night, or he takes, and I just be real and I be myself. And sometimes I go in there and I show them that I'm not perfect. That's what personal group, that's why I love my personal group, because I can go in there and be 100% me. And the ones that aren't perfect that are in there, they can identify with me, and it's all good. I keep it secret and private. So it's not a searchable group, that if you are in there, you're comfortable. You don't have to worry about just anybody seeing what you put out there. It's very private.
I know what you mean by secret and private. Can you explain what that means? Secret and
you set your settings on your group to private and secret, or I can't actually remember, they changed it, but it's not searchable. Like somebody can't search it. And another thing is, I noticed, I put my name on it. Like, it's called Biohacking with PJ, because there's so many groups out there that are life activated, or a lot of groups. And I noticed when I put my name on it, it kind of set my group separate than all the different groups.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, guys. Here's what I'm gonna give you a couple of things to think about as we close this out, because Fred's coming up just a few minutes here with our opportunity webinar. Number one, I would follow all of these ladies on Facebook. You don't like them, it's their choice. I guess you can do whatever you want, but they may not accept, because you're already a distributor. And if you're already a distributor, I'm not telling you to fill your feed up with distributors, because then you've got no one to talk to, right?
Follow. You need to follow.
So yeah, you can follow them. That's fine to follow them. I would also tell you people like Amy Clavier is great to follow. Holly Thomas is great. Holly, your post today, if you go look at Holly's post today with the Vitality Stack, it was golden. So we're also going to do this. I'm going to interview a couple more people privately, and we're going to make those videos available on Team True Blue, so that you guys can, and on our Facebook page, so that you guys can take those in 5 and 7 minute chunks, so that maybe we can grab some more stuff. Let me say this in closing. These ladies have done a tremendous amount of work to get these customers, and it's to be congratulated and applauded and recognized. The next step for them, and for anybody that wants to play at the next level, which is what Jill was referring to, is there's 3 levels in network marketing, okay? And the first level is you go do, right? So these ladies have done, and they've done at a champion level. They've gone out and done it. They've gone out and talked to people passionately about something they're excited about, and they've done it at a high level, and they have a lot of customers. They're pros, okay? They've done it. Phase 2 is teaching people how to do. So you go do. Phase 2 is teaching people how to do. And see, that's their job. These ladies' jobs now, and many of you, my job, is to teach people how to do what you've already done, right? So if you're someone that has 400, 500, 600, 700, 1,000 or more PV, that's fantastic. It's much more than most distributors. Go teach your distributors what you've done. Teach them what to say. Teach them where to find people. Teach them about the groups, right? Because the second phase to, like, if you want to make 20 or 30 or 40 grand a year or more, you need to teach people what you did, right? If you'll go do, you'll probably make a few hundred to maybe 1,000. If you will teach what you do, you'll make several $1,000s a month. The third phase is teaching the teachers, okay? And that takes time. It takes time to build a team. But once you're teaching the teachers, now you can make 100 grand a month or more. And so that's what everybody's after. But it starts with doing. We all have to go do. These ladies have given you some great advice tonight. You guys are amazing. I'm going to jump off of here. We're going to give you guys some more videos. You guys get the green light. The reason we did this tonight is that the 25th auto ship is coming up in a few days. And on the 26th, if your light is green, high five, go get it as big as you can. If your light is red, it means that you've got 4 or 5 days to implement and do to get your volume up. But I'd say do it now. Do some of the things these ladies have talked about. Go look at what they're doing on Facebook, and maybe you'll pick up some more customers. So thank you guys for being on. Thank you guys, Becky,
You're
PJ,
welcome.
Phil, thank you guys so much for being
Thank
on
you.
here tonight. You guys are awesome. You guys have a great night, and we'll go listen to Fred. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.